Questions I wanted to find out. I didn't feel uncomfortable. I asked him how much he was getting paid, what his plan was. Don't feel uncomfortable. You can even ask him what why you questions I wanted to find out. I didn't feel uncomfortable. I asked him how much he was getting paid, what his plan was. Don't feel uncomfortable. You can even ask him why are you taking me? You have to know, like, are you gonna marry me? Because if he's busy trying to kiss you, why is he rushing for something that is it's his? You know what I mean? So but then also maybe my husband, you can talk about boundaries. So it says there's also an issue of sexual purity, which we've talked about. And what are the consequences of indulging in sexual sin before marriage? You've answered that, and how it affects the future, And maybe you can talk about, some of the boundaries that one can put in place. I know you mentioned it in bits and pieces, but like, if, let's say these people have been, but then they want to stop doing that. You know what I mean? First of all, obviously, what the Bible says, when you confess your sins, God is faithful and just to forgive you and to cleanse you from all unrighteousness. First John should be chapter 1, verse 9. 8 up to 10, you can read up there, but should be in chapter 9. You know what I mean? So it means that once you confess, God doesn't condemn you. All right? So you should not condemn yourself, but you have the role to play, because now you have to set healthy boundaries. Do you want to talk about some of the boundaries that they should set?
Yeah, so if you have been in that walk, you've already fallen into sexual sin. It's something that you must take very seriously, because first and foremost, for as long as it stays between the two of you, you still, for as long as you keep it a secret, you empower the sin to continue to have dominion over you. Okay, so who have you shared that particular stumbling affair with? It must be shared with somebody that will be able to provide the proper counsel and guidance into your restoration. Because the truth of the matter is, 3/4 of young people that have delved into sex before marriage will perpetuate the behavior, on and off, because they have kept it secret and they're not exposing it to anyone. And you must, even when you have exposed it to somebody, you must be deliberate about staying accountable, okay, and then employing the boundaries. So now, on the issue of boundaries, it's not it's not as simple as it sounds, okay. You and me had to set some very harsh boundaries, okay, when we had the whole kissing incidents and whatnot. And even that in and of itself was not an easy thing, okay. And so I say this because sometimes people want to talk cute around the issue of boundaries, but it's something that you have to be very brutal about, okay. If you say that we are not going to be hanging out in isolation, it must be something that you must follow through. Okay, it's one thing to set the boundary, but it's another thing to execute it. Okay, and live up to what you have set the boundary to be. Matter of fact, you are each other's keeper, because then you are accountable to each other in as much as you are accountable to your accountability partner. And so it's things like not being in secluded places together, not having sexual conversations, because sometimes you are in different places, but you are entertaining all sorts of funny innuendos in your conversations that drive you to think a certain way, so you must be together. You must agree to say that as far as this particular subject is concerned, we can only go so far. We can only discuss such matters when we are trying, we have a clear motive of what we are aiming to achieve. Now, this is the part that becomes very difficult, because that's usually the part that most church girls call boring. Okay, He's boring because he doesn't even kiss me. He's boring because he doesn't even compliment me. He can't even say I'm looking hot or sexy or something like that. And so there needs to be a whole rewiring of how you view, you know, a romantic relationship. Okay?
Wow.
How you view a
That's
guy
key.
who is romantic, a guy who
That's
is,
very
you know,
important.
sort of like prepared to take care of you. You know what I mean? It's funny that even girls in the church have all of these funny expectations when a guy gets into a relationship with them, you know. And so that is a lot of background work that needs to be done in both the life of the guy and the life of... That's why mentorship becomes very important, okay? Because then you are being deliberate about submitting to an older
and being
couple.
vulnerable.
That's it.
I remember, sorry, babes, hope you won't lose your thought. I remember like one of the things that was one of the people were submitted to is Coach Morris. You know, God bless you, sir. You know, like one of the things I remember, you know, when we had this kissing incident. Obviously, we didn't have sex, but we didn't expect to kiss. We didn't want to kiss, you know. But obviously, we didn't know better. So then you went to Coach and just explained to him, and he told you something that changed your mind completely. He said, "What you have to protect yourself
from yourself.
Protect me from yourself,"
That's
you know.
it.
And that is, you know, like it just changed, you know, because now he was basically trying to tell you that as a man you have the responsibility, you know what I mean. But also I think what I remember is when we started dating, like we talked about we talked about sexual purity, and I remember even the dressing. Obviously, you know, I've always been modest, but you know, I remember you told me that you weren't comfortable with some of the, you know, outfits that I had, like if it had, you know, a lower cleavage, you know, and so on. And those are some of the things that you are a man of God, but you said, you know, for me, I think I'll appreciate if you can cover yourself well, you know, wear properly, you know what I mean. And those are some of the things we take for granted, because Hollywood tells us that, you know, I need to look sexy when going to see my, you know, my boo. I don't know if it's boo or bae, but then you look sexy and you have sex and you're shocked. Say, what happened? You know, how do you go to see your boyfriend in a mini skirt, in a very skimpy, you know? You get what I'm saying? So I thought I should add that. But anyway, you were saying that you know, you have to set boundaries.
Yeah, so the conversation must be there. You must be on the same playing field, because you can't have two people thinking differently, because then you will be each other's stumbling block. You know, the lady is thinking, I'm looking really good for my guy. The guy is thinking, oh my goodness, what are you doing?
Yes,
you know,
you're
you
tempting
are
me.
exactly. You know, you're not helping me in any way. So these are healthy conversations that must get into the relationship from the very onset. You know, it's not something that you wait until, you know, we bagati kind of thing. You know, you want to make sure that you get into the relationship. If the brother just you know, is bringing other conversations, saying, boss, let's talk about this thing. Let's be very clear about
I like
this
the
thing.
way you put it. That you have to have a sexual purity agenda.
That's it.
If you don't
That's
have,
it.
I remember like when you're talking to in one of the gatherings, you said that, which I was like, my goodness, it's a point. Have an agenda.
You need to have an
If you
agenda.
don't have a sexual purity agenda,
You adopt every other agenda that you adopt Hollywood's agenda.
Bollywood.
You adopt some
Zambezi
diabolical
Magic.
people's agendas
Yes.
out there. You know, because the world has an agenda,
Yes.
and they are selling that agenda to us on a daily basis.
Yes, true.
So what is your agenda? So table that agenda in your relationship from the get.
yes. And also issues of, I think one of the things that you were particular about is where we both have our own cribs, but we do not visit each other.
That's it.
You know, not
That's
where I'm going for prayers.
Yeah, especially that one.
You know.
I know some men of God who have prayed and transitioned into other arenas because they were in a powerful prayer meeting, but the power translated into something else.
You know, but you're at the same school, you know,
Yeah.
it comes to my dorm, so that is a no-go area. You know what I mean? So anyways, unless there's anything else you want to add on, and I think maybe while you are here, you can talk about the issue of kissing. You know, the Bible doesn't explicitly condemn kissing, right?
No, it doesn't.
Yes, so like if someone...
You find that the only kiss found in the Bible is a holy kiss.
Kiss your brother with a holy kiss.
Yeah.
Kiss one another. So, yeah, maybe briefly,
Yeah.
what do you have to say about that?
So, I mean, yes, scripture is silent about kissing, but let's face it, every person that talks about this subject, you know, interestingly, there are some interesting school of thoughts, sometimes even amongst men of God, that would be like, there's nothing wrong as long as, you're not doing anything, as long as you don't go beyond kissing. I beg to differ. Personally, I believe that kissing is a process leading to something. Okay? First and foremost, kissing is an expression of affection. Okay? Now I talk about it in this book when in the chapter called Mastering the Dynamics of Sex, where I talk about how a man understands kissing as compared to the way a woman understands kissing, or how the body of a man reacts to kissing compared to the way the body of a woman reacts to kissing. Okay, now shout outs to everybody there that has mastered self-control and all that jazz. God bless you. Okay, but the majority of us, okay, when you are kissing a woman, you are lip to lip with a woman, there is something that is going on in your system. Okay, now if you tell me to say, oh well, I have mastered the dynamics of the hormones and the hormonal activity that goes on in my system, God bless you. Okay, but otherwise, I know for a fact that there is things that happen in the inside of a man, physically, okay, that begin to trigger certain hormones and whatnot. On the side of the woman, 3/4 of the time, in the kissing experience, the woman's experience is more of an emotional experience. Am I correct?
You are correct.
Okay? It's actually 80%, could be even 90% emotional and 10% sexual. Up until a certain time that the woman is kind of turned on sexually. Whereas on the man's side of things, before he even kisses the woman, the engine and the system is already pointing a certain direction to say, something is about to happen here, So now, unless this is basically, like, especially if you are in seclusion, you're just the two of you, you would do the smooch or whatever, the light kiss the first time, second time, you know what I mean?
And that's how it graduates, right?
It will start transitioning because you will not feel satisfied enough, by just a peck or whatever you want to call it. French kiss or whatever you want to call it. It will keep growing and growing and growing, and the next minute you are doing body viewing.
And it's like, how did we get here?
Exactly, so you want to make sure that first and foremost, before you even find yourself into what my Bemba cousins call mamone, before you find yourself in mamone, you want to make sure that you have precautionary measures that you have put in place. So like I say, if you are that iron woman or iron man, God bless you. But I wouldn't advise you to be comfortable with the whole kissing experiment during your courtship.
Great. And maybe, what is the aim of your kissing? Maybe you might want to think about that.
Yes.
Good. So, next question is then, what do you suggest if I'm a lady that has involved myself in a sexual act with my boyfriend? Do I dump him because I want to pursue sexual purity? Like, what would you advise? Do you dump your man after you sleep with him because you want to stop having sex with your man?
Well, that's an option. That's an option, and it's an option especially if the man still wants to continue having sex. Okay, because unfortunately there are some guys out there, and unfortunately some of them are in the church, okay, that are placing a demand on their lady to say, let's try some things out, you know what I mean? And for some weird reason, they perpetuate their behavior, and yet they, claim to be in the light. So my answer here is, if he insists on sleeping with you,
if he sees nothing
wrong with that, we've already done it, why are we even pretending? You know what I mean?
Seen.
Exactly. So let's just continue doing it. After all, we're getting married. Those are some of the reasons that they give. Okay, so if the brother is leading you in that direction, my sister, walk away, run away very fast. Okay, because at the end of the day, he's demonstrating the fact that he is a bad leader, because he is leading you into temptation, he's leading you into sin, he is leading you away from God. Matter of fact, he is messing with your relationship with God, because you've clearly said there that your focus is purity. And as far as your purity agenda is concerned, you need a partner who equally has a purity agenda. If he's not thinking like that, then run away, and run away fast. I don't care if he's promised you the whole world. Don't give a care if I told he has all the money in the world, if I told he's the most handsome looking dude, if he has ticked all the boxes on your list and whatnot. My sister, you are going to jump out of the frying pan into the fire if you keep walking in down that direction. If he really means business, he's going to wait. There's an OG saying back in the day that used to say, true love waits. Okay, so if he truly loves you, he's going to wait. If he's gonna wait months, if he's gonna wait years, let him wait. Okay, because that waiting also enriches the whole courtship experience, because then there is something that you are looking forward to in the marriage experience. That's on the side where the man, doesn't want to pursue the purity agenda. If this particular individual is saying, I'm struggling, I'm honestly struggling, and I'm willing to get help, then there's no need to run away at that point. It's a question of, okay, so what sort of boundaries can we put now, and what sort of counsel can we seek?
And which couple or which person can we be accountable to?
That's it.
So don't just say, we sort it out, the two of us, and so it doesn't work. Maybe it does for you, but it doesn't work. You always want to find, like my husband said, someone mature, someone older and godly that can help you to
transition through that whole process.
Thank you so much. So I have a couple of, I think 3 questions about cheating.
Okay.
So the first one is, why do men cheat but still refuse to let go when you ask for a breakup?
Okay. Well, I don't know. We should ask them, but I have a few guesses based on just general men behavior.
Okay.
I think there are some men out there, unfortunately, that like we were talking about how that men are sort of like searching, and looking for the ideal. Unfortunately, for some men, that searching involves sleeping with every other girl on the list. Okay, it involves trying the girls out, before they can settle for that one girl. That's the unfortunate side of things. And so for some of the guys, it could also be that he was trying other options, but somehow he's kind of still undecided and still wants to hang with you. Okay, and usually that only works terribly for the lady, because now you are in this position where it's not like you are the one that is making the decision, it's like he's making the decision on your behalf, which should not be the case. I think that you should have a say in how things should go. So if you demand a breakup, then break up. Okay, and I mean, what right or what hold does he have on you to demand that you should stay in the relationship? Okay, matter of fact, most guys, if you are going to ask them for a breakup in that scenario, they will not agree to it. Usually they would be the one. If they want to break up, they'll be the first ones to even ghost on you and just disappear without even saying anything. So even yourself, like what are your values? Okay, what sort of man are you? Are you desperate? Because that's the other problem. If you are desperate for marriage, desperate for a relationship, you will find yourself in a spot like that, where the guy can do whatever he wants and he can come back to you, and you are busy throwing yourself all over him, because you are in that desperate spot, which is really, really dangerous, because it's possible for you to stick around with this guy and transition into marriage and experience a very, very terrible
for the rest of your life
marriage.
And most of the people that cheat, unless otherwise they genuinely repent and they're well mentored, they'll continue to cheat in marriage.
That's it.
So if you want to forgive today, be ready to forgive for the rest of your life.
That's it.
But I'm not saying that if he cheats, I know of some men that they'll cheat, they'll seek godly mentorship, and they become straight people. There are people like that. But the majority of people that cheat in relationships, like it's easy for them to even cheat. It could even be men of God. You know what I mean?
I mean, look, cheating is a breach of trust. Okay, it's a breach of trust, and if somebody is not willing to make up for that breach of trust, show them the door, let them go. If somebody is really serious about mending that breach of trust and walking down in restoration, they will say the right things and they will do the right things. They will make sure that they clean up their house, they clean up their mess, and come back to you and say, look, I messed up, but I still want you,
and I'm ready to do anything.
That's it.
To make it work.
That's it right there.
And in most cases they'll even say, I want us to start getting mentorship.
That's it.
They'll open up to another person and so on. Okay. So in line with that, so there are two similar questions. The first one is, how does a couple in a relationship move on after one cheats? And the other one is, how do you really know you have forgiven a partner who cheated on you? Because many are the times that you have flashbacks of those things. Those things still hurt. Can you say you have forgiven someone like that? So basically, like if you still have flashbacks, can you say you've forgiven your partner like that? How do you really know that you've given your partner after they cheat? And how? So it's one like, and the other one is, how does a couple move on after one partnership?
All right, so I think we've talked about the whole moving on after one cheats. Just to re-emphasize, you want to make sure that the agenda there is restoration, that somebody is remorseful and repentant. Okay, it's not enough just to confess their sin. They must follow it through with appropriate behavior that aligns with their confession. You don't want somebody always walking back to you to say, no, actually, I didn't know what I was doing, but I did it again with her. There's no hope there of any restoration. You want somebody to come and once they make their confession, they're giving you the level of involvement and commitment to make the whole relationship work again. Ensuring that they don't make the same mistakes again, and seeking counsel from the right people. So once that decision is made, it's about now committing to a process of restoration as you are being counseled and as you are being led by people that are speaking into your life and showing you how to make the right decisions going forward. So those are the two main things that you would need to focus on. If those two components are missing, then it becomes very difficult for you to move on after a cheating experience, because now you are dealing with an individual who is not remorseful,